Yeah? And first place, cadmium. And what is the target organ of cadmium?
Kidney.
Once more?
Kidney.
Yes, that's it. Yeah? Very good. The kidneys. And then the second heavy metal is, you know, lead.
Oh, lead.
Lead, it is in the bone and with children in the brain. In the brain with children. And so they are retarded development of children. It's, nah. We know that from streets, nah? And 10 years ago in our fuel there was a lot of lead, nah? And children had a certain retardation of the intelligence when they lived in busy streets with a lot of cars, nah? And there, nah? Yes, yeah. And environmental, why have they a very deep connection to cancer? Why environmental toxins? Everybody must know. Because, have you any idea why are the environmental toxins are so important? They have more than 90% have an estrogen property. An estrogen is an endogenous carcinogen. Estrogen is very, very bad. Estrogen. Now, and they partially, but it is not so decisive, dioxin can cause a cancer of the liver. But forget it. The hormone impact is much more important. The hormone effect of the environmental toxins. Yes. And then, you see, remember, we are not dealing with the cancer tests. That is system diagnosis. At first you can forget the cancer test. Yes, you must buy it with Dennis. But nevertheless, I will tell you, because cancer is a systematic disorder. And so you must consider all the points here. All the points here. Note well here. The message of the estrogen. Grow, grow, grow. That is their message. And you know, during how high is the level of estrogens during pregnancy? A question to you. How high is the level of estrogens during the pregnancy? Is it high? What do you think? Estrogen high or low?
Low.
Very, very low. And in the milk phase, when you give the breast to the child, is the estrogen low?
Yeah.
Low. And in former times, that women, they were during their entire life pregnant, or it was the milk period afterwards for 3 years, and therefore they had no estrogens.
Yes.
No estrogens, and therefore they had no cancer of the reproductive organs, breast, ovaries. It's very easy to understand, and then you will keep it in mind. Don't learn all these. You must see the contents of all that. The connections between the contents, yes. Hormone effect.
One question. Usually, I can hear some women after delivery, they don't have enough milk to
Yes.
feed the babies.
Yes.
So, what's your ideas about that?
Yes,
And what's
but-
the problems there?
Yes. And she's right. There are, as every time, a lot of causes, no? Several causes. But the main cause is that here, especially in Taiwan, you have a high burden of environmental toxins, a high burden. And the high burden, then your brain is stressed by the environmental toxin. And the capital organ of the environmental is a hypophysis. And in the hypophysis there's built a prolactin. Yes. And then the production of prolactin is disturbed, is stressed. And so you measure the environmental toxin with this woman, you measure, and then you quantify, and then you carry out a correlation test between environmental toxin and hypophysis. And then when there is a correlation, you have to eliminate it with. Is it marvelous? Yes, I think so. Correlation test again and again, and here. Where is the origin of the lacking milk? Regard that.
So what is the common environmental toxins for hypophysis and so on? And how about hypothalamus?
Yes. Oh, I have the transparencies, but I have to look for it. Yes, you have here epiphysis, hypothalamus, and here is the hypophysis. Hypophysis, hypothalamus, and epiphysis. Epiphysis is stressed mainly by smoke, by electricity, epiphysis. And hypophysis is stressed by environmental toxin. And the hypothalamus is stressed with electricity and environmental toxin. Only to give you a hint, but it is rather complicated, I must tell you. But now you have epiphysis always with, and they cannot sleep here, these people, or they can sleep too much because electricity impedes the production of melatonin. In the epiphysis, melatonin is produced, and when there is a reduction of melatonin, which cancer will emerge? Breast. Breast cancer. So you have all here now I will not speak about it. And here the heavy metal. You can neutralize for a short time. You can neutralize the heavy metals with Mora machine, but you cannot eliminate them entirely. It is not possible. It is not possible. Therefore, we only here apply here DMSA, not DMPS. That is the more common one. DMPS, DMSA. And here there is how do you take it? 3 capsules and so on and so on. What is the advantage of DMSA? The advantage is that only a small portion, but it can pass the blood-brain barrier. DMSA, not DMPS. And the portion is not too high, but you have an effect. Yes. Yeah. Now, only 1 week you need. And then you measure the patients, they come to visit me, first appointment Monday morning, and then they go to the pharmacy, and then they buy here DMSA, and on Friday, and you will test again, and from 4,000 it will go down to perhaps 200 or like that. only 1 week. Only 1 week. You can neutralize with Mora, yes, but the effect is only a short-term effect. And then you must do it every month or every 2 weeks. It doesn't work. But Mora is a very, very good machine. The only one you can test all that. Forward, afterwards, but you cannot do all the disorders. Yes, here again, my DMSA, how to take it. Every patient gets such a form. Every patient, and here, oh yes, and then here, exciter. And the conventional medicine is focused on viruses and bacteria. No, that is not our present problem. Yes, it is, we know. But we have other problems too. For example, the environmental toxin, the lack of the deficiency of progesterone, and so on, and so on. And that is our work to support the research of these substances. Is a part, yeah. Let me look at it. Yes, 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 we can do that. Thank you. Little break.
休息10分钟。
Step by step, and up to the evening, then you will have a broader knowledge of the problem. And don't hesitate to treat cancer patients, especially after surgery. And I must underline again, 80% they die from metastasis. And that you can avoid with Mora. And Mora. And forget at the moment the mitochondrial or the cancer test set. Focus here on the system analysis, because a potent immune system doesn't allow cancer again and again. That's the problem. And here the exciters, that was the end of the last lecture. It is not so decisive. Not so decisive. And here we have the human papilloma virus. I don't know whether there is a vaccination in Taiwan. Is there a vaccination against
Yes.
all children of 13?
It's optional.
It's optional, yes. In Germany too, but in France they're forbidden the vaccination because they have 2 or 3 dead children or young people, 13 years old, the other 12 years old. They died of the vaccination of the HPV viruses. And we are not sure in science that HPV is really the reason for this cancer. And very estimated scientists, they claim that is only an accompanying virus of this cancer. And accompanying is not the cause, and it is not sure. And and it is really sometimes a joke in the history of science. Here it was invented or developed in Austria. And the developer, that was a relative to the health minister of Austria. And so there was a connection between here the owner of the company which developed this vaccination and the health minister. And it is very doubtful that it was correct or it was business. It was business. Therefore, We are, and now in Germany, they recommend the this vaccination for boys too. And there is no evidence that boys are, young boys, that they are the carrier for this virus. But imagine every boy, and vaccination, we know all the problems. That you can test measles with people beyond 60 years. And measles, it is very important for what kind of what kind it is? Multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis. We have 3 viruses or vaccination. That is the measles, that is rubeola, and that is distemperidum, that is disorder of dogs. And when they have the foam for their mouth, that is distemperidum. And these 3, they can be responsible for multiple sclerosis many, many years afterwards. And now there is a discussion whether Alzheimer is an infection too. We don't know. I doubt about it, but nevertheless, hepatitis B and so on. Here, Clostridium again, inoculum, that's the worst one. Inoculum, Clostridium inoculum, it is in our testes. Therefore, I installed it in inoculum for cancer. And here, cholesterol, we mentioned it yesterday, cholesterol deficit. And you take here the statins, and then you are not sure whether the level is about 180 or is below. And when it is below, because of the medications, and then the chance that cancer may develop is greater, much greater here under this. And cholesterol, you know, it is for the detoxification of the environmental toxins. Therefore, when a person comes to you and he has to take statins, statins, you say, well, at first you measure what? Environmental toxins. And then you have to remove the environmental or to neutralize the environmental toxin. And then afterwards you measure again cholesterol. And then perhaps it is not necessary. Perhaps it is not necessary. Always look for the origin. For the origin. Cholesterol, once more, cholesterol and environmental toxins, they belong together. Therefore here you have the deficit. And then hormones, hormones. That is our, because that is our favorite. Because with water we can decide it very easily. Very easily the problem of the hormones. I think in Germany 80% about, or 70%, they have a deficit of progesterone. Now I can measure here the level, but that is our problem, the deficiency of progesterone. And as I told you yesterday, or I have another transparency here, that more than 40, 45, 46% of the female tumors are tumors of the reproductive organs. More than 40, 45% of the reproductive. Here, and then why are the estrogens so important? Because you have three parts, and that is environmental toxins. Environmental toxins, they have a estrogen property, environmental estrogen. Then the body own estrogens, because the women will not get pregnant, and therefore they have always a high estrogen level and relative estrogen dominance caused by progesterone. And so you have three times a high estrogen level. And that is our problem. Now, and here, again, yesterday, melatonin, the strongest radical scavenger. And here one, keep it in mind, when there's breast cancer, you have to check, melatonin and the hypofunction of the thyroid. Hypofunction of the thyroid. Here, that is breast cancer will increase. And that is the most important chart we have. And I'm a bit proud to have developed this one, because we start always a cancer test with this chart here. And why is it so important? Every time, you have to test. Here's this one. Forget this one, it is for research. And here you can check the formative potency. What does it mean? Whether it is a genetic problem, but I'm not so sure. But it was interesting to have another tool to check this. But normally we starting from here. Carcinoma D200. That is nothing at all cancer. Nothing at all. That is 10 with 200 zeros. To nothing. But you have a little tendency. And then we test here. And in double steps. Carcinoma D60. Nothing. Because more than D23, there's no molecule in the solution. 10, schreib mal eben auf, 10 hoch minus 23, there is no molecule in it. Yes, there's no molecule. And that is a minus, schreib mal vor 23 mal minus.
Oh, minus?
So there's no molecule in it. And therefore you have no here cancer. You have no cancer, but the tendency increases step by step, more and more. And then, wo haben wir denn unser Stäbchen? Haben wir das hier? Ah ja.
Hast du?
Und guck mal eben da. Na, more and more. And here, in this case here, that is D30, no molecule in it, but here you can have one. You can have here a molecule in it. And that is the turning point here in this range. D15, D12. And then you must pay attention. You must pay attention. And whether there is a high level of environmental toxins and low level of progesterone, all what I mentioned up to now, here. And then here, when it is here, more and more, worse and worse and worse. And carcinoma D4, that is a concentrated cancer, here, D4. But it is not cancer. It is not cancer, you must keep in mind. And in former days, here they referred to me patients because they tested carcinoma D4. No, it is not cancer. That means D4 means potency. D4 means 1, 2,